What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Today I'm back with another new Ultra Prism deck profile. If you haven't been on my channel for a couple days, make sure you go check out my 50 code giveaway. It's on my pack opening video from a couple days ago. Also, I launched my Patreon. You can check that out in the link below. And you can also go to GuardianGamingTCG.com in the link below. That's my sponsor. And you can get some Ultra Prism codes from them. It's really cool. Once you pay, the codes get emailed out to you instantly. So if you need codes, go check them out there. But without further ado, let's get into this new Garchomp Lucario deck. So, first off, I just want to preface by saying I've played about 10 games with the deck so far. To get a feel for it, I made some changes that were obvious right in the beginning. I shared the list with a friend, and he's been playing it a bit. I played a couple matches against him last night, and that also shined some new light on a couple cards, and that influenced a couple changes I made to it last night. So we're playing with 4 Gible from Breakpoint, the fighting type. We're using this so we have access to Brooklet Hill to get out our Gibles. And never enough for a fighting energy. Discard a card from your hand if you do draw 2 cards. Isn't too bad. The evolution line here is messed up. I'm sure they'll fix that. It's just a bug. But next is Gabite. I was playing 2 of the fighting type Gabite, but now I'm playing 2 of the dragon type Gabite. So Ascension, search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it onto this Pokemon to evolve it, then shuffle your deck. Not too bad. So if you go first and then on your second turn you evolve into Gabite and then Ascension into a Garchomp, not a lot of decks are hitting for 150 on a non-GX, non-EX on turn 2. So your Garchomp is usually safe. Of course, you have to pick and choose when you use this. Depending on your opponent's deck and depending on your opponent's setup, ascending into a Garchomp might just result in them knocking out. So if so, you probably just want to retreat Gabite and hide behind something else. And then we have one of the Breakpoint fighting type Garchomp. Turbo Assault for 1 fighting energy does 60 damage. Attach an energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. This is really, really big. So this helps gain tempo back if your opponent kills your only powered up Garchomp, or you can get a little bit ahead on tempo and you attack and attach an energy card from your discard pile so you can get an extra energy attachment in. And then Bite Off if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX. This attack does 80 more damage. We won't really be using that. Maybe in a pinch you could have 2 fighting energy on it and a choice band to knock out a Garchomp-GX, but you'll probably be taking most of your knockouts with the other Garchomp. Also note that this has free retreat, just like our other Garchomp, and this one's weak to grass, not fairy. Then we have 3 of the new Garchomp from Ultra Prism. 150 HP dragon type. Its first attack, quick dive. This attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Not too bad, but we're looking at Royal Blade. So for fighting in DCE, it does 100, and if you played Cynthia from your hand this turn, this attack does 200 instead. So you're one-shotting Glaceon, you're one-shotting Leafeon, and with a choice band, you're one-shotting Zoroark and Golisopod. And pretty much everything else. You're even one-shotting a Gardevoir if you come up against that. So yeah, this also has free retreat, and this one's weak to Fairy, but Fairy is not too popular right now. Gardevoir has seen a decline. So our next Pokemon line is Riolu. We are playing 3 of this, 70 HP fighting type. It has Detect. Flip a coin if heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon during your next turn. Not bad if you are dead drawing and you are trying to survive an extra turn or something. And we're playing 2 Lucario. So stage 1, 110 HP fighting type. We're playing this for its ability, which is so ridiculous if you get this deck set up. Precognitive Aura. Once during your turn before your attack, if you have Garchomp in play, you may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So you get a free tutor. Just search your deck for any one card if Garchomp is in play. If you have 2 Lucarios, you're searching for any 2 cards. This card essentially becomes more powerful than Lycanroc-GX because you're searching out whatever you want. You don't have to try to draw into it. So it's usually something like you search out like your Cynthia and an energy, or a rare candy Garchomp if you already have another Garchomp in play, or you search out 2 Puzzle of Time. It's just so good. And then we're playing a 1/1 Lycanroc line. We're playing the Corner Rockruff and then 1 Lycanroc-GX. So since with this deck your supporter for the turn is usually Cynthia, so you can hit 200 plus damage with Garchomp. So that means you're not playing Guzma. That means you're not bringing up whatever Pokemon you want to kill on your opponent's board. So we're playing Lycanroc as a way to do that. Just a 1/1 line. Most of the time you'll be happy with just one-shotting whatever your opponent has active. Excuse me. But in the event that your opponent put up a Pokemon that they don't care about to stall for a turn, and they know your deck well, so they're thinking you don't play Guzmas, you have the ability to maybe search out a Rockruff with Brooklet Hill sometime early mid-game, and then just evolve the Lycanroc whenever you're ready to bring something up, and Bloodthirsty Eyes up one of your opponent's Pokemon that they really don't want you to knock out. And yeah, it's really helpful. Just the 1/1 line, because you don't have too much bench room, you don't have too much space in the deck, and doing this one time is just enough. We also have Dangerous Rogue GX as our GX attack of the deck. If you get Lycanroc-GX down, use its Bloodthirsty Eyes attack, and the game's still not over, you can go in for a huge amount of damage with Dangerous Rogue if your opponent wasn't playing around this. Since they're not playing against a Lycanroc deck, they might not be playing around Dangerous Rogue until they see the Rockruff come down. So Dangerous Rogue, for a fighting and a colorless, does 50 damage for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon, so it can do up to 250 without a choice band. Next, we have 2 Tapu Lele GX. Kind of a staple now. When you play this down, you search for a supporter, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, so it gets you your supporter for the turn. Energy Drive does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. It's Tapu Cure GX, we can't use it because we don't play that energy. And it has 1 retreat. So I'm only playing 2 of this because we have the searching powers of Lucario. It's really nice if you don't have to bench a Lele. Also, Glaceon GX might prove to be popular. So, yeah, we don't want too many Leles in our deck. Sorry, just had my coffee for the morning. Okay, so next is Alolan Vulpix. I'm playing 2 of this card because if you can start with it, it's really good in this deck. Even if you don't start with it, you want to be able to Brooklet Hill for it or Bridge it for it and just start beaconing. Searching out your Lucarios, your Gabites, your Garchomps. Also, it sets up a really nice play, which I'll talk about next if your opponent knocks this out. But yeah, Alolan Vulpix I'm playing 2 of. Definitely, if you want to try something out, if you want to try out another card in this deck that I don't have in the list, cut the second Alolan Vulpix for sure. So the play I was talking about is Counter Catcher. If you get a setup with Alolan Vulpix and then your opponent knocks out Alolan Vulpix and goes ahead and prizes, you can just possibly search out with Lucario a Counter Catcher if you're all set up and ready to go. And it's kind of a free turn to use Counter Catcher and just bring up whatever you want. So this is your second Gust effect of the deck. You have Lycanroc-GX and you have 1 Counter Catcher. But because of Puzzle of Times, you could possibly use more than 1 Counter Catcher. But this is really, really nifty when the Excuse me. This is really, really nifty when the situation arises to use it, and you can get it. So just one field blower. Pretty much if we see a rise in Garbotoxin popularity, we might put a second field blower in, but Garbotoxin is not that relevant at all or seemingly viable in the standard format, so we're just playing one field blower. One Pal Pad to get back our Cynthias, since we want to use Cynthia to max out our Garchomp's attack damage. If we weren't playing Puzzle of Time, definitely play more than one Pal Pad, but we're playing for Puzzle of Time as well, just because they're so easy to search for with our Lucarios, and we can get back whatever we want. Puzzle of Time, if you play two of these from your hand, put 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand. Then we have 4 Rare Candy. The deck could definitely function with 3, but I want to perform as consistently as possible, so we're playing 4 Rare Candy to put our Garchomp down from a Gibble instead of waiting for the Gabite. So 1 Rescue Stretcher. Like I said, if we weren't playing Puzzle of Time, we'd probably be playing 2 Rescue Stretcher, but we have Puzzle of Time, so we don't really need it. 4 Ultra Ball, pretty standard. 3 Brooklet Hill. It's really good. We can search out anything from our deck aside from Tapu Lele. We can get our Gibbles, our Riolus, our Rockruffs, and our Alolan Vulpix. So it's amazing in this deck. Then we're playing 1 Bridget. So it doesn't really... it's not super necessary to play Bridget turn 1 with this deck, in my opinion. Like I said, I have about 10 games logged with this deck. My friend played a couple with me last night while I played Glaceon against this deck. Turn 1 Bridget isn't really necessary. You can usually just Cynthia or Sycamore and hit a Brooklet Hill, maybe an Ultra Ball. If you get Bridget, that's great, but I don't think it's worth the deck space because you have Brooklet Hill to get pretty much whatever you want. And yeah, like I said, this deck has been working out for me really well, and there's a lot of cards that I'm not sure what I would want to take out for the second Bridget. Possibly the Alolan Vulpix, like I said earlier, but if Alolan Vulpix is prized, it kind of sucks. So anyway, on to the next card. We have 4 Cynthia. Shuffle your hand into your deck to draw 6 cards, and you need Cynthia to activate the extra damage on Garchomp's Royal Blades. So Cynthia is a new supporter card. It's really great to have. Shuffle your hand, draw 6, and it activates Garchomp's ability. So we're playing 4 Cynthia and no N. Then, crap. I just took Sycamore out by accident. I clicked on it to highlight it, and okay. So we have 1 Sycamore. Discard your hand, draw 7. You'll really only be using this card on a turn where you don't need Cynthia, or you don't have Cynthia, or you need to hit a bunch of cards. Maybe you're hitting the knockout without Cynthia. Yeah, just 1 Sycamore in case you ever need it. Sometimes turn 1, if you empty your hand, Sycamore is really nice. Then we have 3 Choice Band to make our attacks do 30 more to your opponent's active GX and EX Pokemon. So, Royal Blades can knock out Zoroarks and Galissapods and Gardevoir GXs with Choice Band. And then 2 Escape Board instead of Float Stones, since all of our Pokemon's retreat cost, aside from Lycanroc-GX, is 1. So we don't need Float Stone in this deck. We can just use Escape Board and also get the it can retreat if asleep or paralyzed effect, which won't come up too often, but this is the most optimal inclusion. And Lycanroc-GX, usually, like I said earlier, won't be down until... excuse me, won't be down until late in the game when you need to Bloodthirsty Eyes that one time, so we're not too worried about retreating it. And then we have 4 DCE and 5 Fighting Energy. So let me talk about some of the matchups I've played multiple times so far. This deck is a monster against Glaceon Zoroark. I'm undefeated against Glaceon Zoroark with the deck, and playing Glaceon versus the deck, I haven't won a single game. It's just really powerful for them. None of their powers really, they don't rely on GX powers. They can do without Lycanroc and Lele because they have the searching effect of Lucario. And they one-shot your Glaceon GXs without a choice band. So yeah, this deck is really good against Glaceon Zoroark-GX in my testing. It's really good against Duskmane Necrozma Magnezone because they're setting all of this up, getting all their energy to do 220 to a 1-prizer, and then you just return KO one-shot a 2-prizer with a lot less resources to gather, since you can just search out whatever you need, your energy or your Cynthia with Lucario. So yeah, I'm undefeated against Duskmane Magnezone with this deck. I believe 3-0 against it. What else? Leafeon Decidueye, if they get an early Grand Bloom, there's like no coming back for you in my opinion, because they just put three Feather Arrows on your Gibble, 3 Feather Arrow on your Rockruff, 3 Feather Arrow, and then another one on your Riolu next turn. So, like, if you don't get turn 2 Rare Candy 2 Garchomps, your Gibbles never live against Leafeon Decidueye, because they are always just 3 Feather Arrow, 3 Feather Arrow. And, or they can do 2 Feather Arrow, Razor Leaf on your Garchomp, and they one-shot your Garchomp fighting type because of the grass weakness. They one-shot Lycanroc, but you shouldn't use it against that deck because of that. So yeah, Leafeon Decidueye, so far my testing experience, is not good for this deck. And those are the matchups that I've played enough to have some insight on. So, like I said, it's really good against Glaceon Zoroark, and that's the deck with all the hype around it right now. So this deck seems pretty strong. So let me just talk about my setups with this deck. If you get past the initial 2 turns of setting up with this deck feels unstoppable, because if you have 1 or 2 Lucario set up, you have a Garchomp in play, you have another Gibble in play, you're searching out whatever you want, you're one-shotting whatever your opponent has in the active spot. It's just really hard to stop once it gets set up. But if you stutter in the setup, like if you don't get your first Garchomp till like turn 4, then it's kind of an uphill battle. But for that, you have things like Counter Catcher to give you an advantage to get back in the game if you are losing at the moment. So yeah, I really like this deck. It's refreshing and fun to play. There's also a lot more that goes into your turns than it looks. It's not just search for 1 card with Lucario. There's a lot of decisions that go into successfully setting the deck up. So I'll be posting gameplay with this sometime in the next few days, but let me know what you think. If you try it out, let me know how it goes for you. And let me know what you think about this 1/1 Lycanroc. I think it's really, really good, and I like having that option there. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. Check out Guardian Gaming TCG for your Pokemon TCGO codes. And if you would like to become a monthly patron of mine and check out those rewards, go ahead and visit patreon.com/CeliosNetwork. Like I mentioned in my past few videos, my graphics card for my PC is getting replaced, so I made this video on my MacBook, so quality is definitely lower than usual. I'll be back on my PC sometime next week, and so I'll be streaming on Twitch a lot to make up for this past week where I wasn't. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope you guys liked this deck profile of Garchomp, Lucario, Lycanroc for the new Ultra Prism set. I'll see you next time here on Celios Network.